weren't any highlights from the Redskins-Cowboys game. But I do share all the highlights from the Caps and the Redskins, so I definitely will be posting whenever we do have highlights. But that game, I didn't even waste the time to write an article or put a highlight package together. I took a video of a couple of touchdowns and called it a day. They didn't deserve any highlight package for that game, Robbie.
Exactly. I was more talking about your halftime pregame.
Oh, okay. No doubt. Yeah, it got kind of ugly, but we'll get in the Redskins talk later on. You see, you done got me started already. I've already been drinking a little early, so I might get a little. I don't know what might happen tonight, but we're going to get in the Caps talk right now, and we're going to recap. It was only 2 games last week. We had the 5-2 loss to the Kings, which was, in my opinion, a disappointing loss. They came out, looked like they were ready to play, and they scored the first goal. The Kings were able to answer, and then the Kings just imposed their will and just made this team fall apart. They were taking too many penalties. The Kings enforced their will, like we spoke about, how big they are and how they would their forecheck is and how they come at you in waves. And after the Caps got that first goal, that was pretty much what happened. They took over that game, and it was just an ugly loss. It just showed that the Caps weren't, ready to really be out there to face that team. They weren't clicking in defense. They were overpassing the puck, and they were once again taking penalties, bad penalties. And me and you had a conversation about Orpik. He's normally on the ice most of the time when these penalties are getting called, or when they have the odd man rushes and somebody speeds past him. But we'll get into that conversation later when we get Gil and Anna on. We'll get their take on that. Did you get a chance to check out the Kings game, and what was your take of that 5-2 loss?
So if we remember last time we were on this podcast, I talked about the really sad day that I can't watch the Caps or the Redskins live. So I did end up catching the second half of the Redskins game, but unfortunately the Kings game was already over by the time that I got home. It was a great comedy show, though. I had a great time with my wife. I have no regrets. I'm kind of happy I may have missed this Kings game. I know that it was close for a time. I know that we scored 2 goals back-to-back, which was, so we scored 2 goals. We took the lead, and they scored 2 goals back-to-back. Yeah. Had to take it back from us. So it wasn't sort of the result that I'd hoped for, but the Kings play us tough. So I wasn't able to watch that game live, unfortunately, but I was able to see some of the highlights and lowlights later.
Yeah, exactly. You were lucky you were at the comedy show, because there was nothing funny on sports that Thursday night. I can tell you that. But it was the Kings. They have a heavy game. Even when they on the road, they still play very well, and they came in prepared. The Caps looked like they had some days off, so I don't know if they weren't crisp or whatever it was, but they got the first goal, and it was nice. They got an early goal, but then they allowed the Kings to score not even 2 minutes after that, and then the Kings scored again. It was like the Caps knew that the game was going to be over at that point. And it's like the Kings just took over and just imposed their will. Deacon, we'll get in the football talk in the second half, but I see you're happy with some of the developments in the New York Giants arena. We'll get into that later on. The next game was actually against Columbus Blue Jackets, the Metropolitan leading Blue Jackets, and y'all all know how I hate John Tortorella, so it's always good to get a win against him. And the Caps prevailed 4-3 in that game. I'll let Robbie, if he has the scoring up, I'll let him go through the scoring, and then I'll see if he got a chance to check out that game. Because I know I definitely saw all of that, and see if we can get some of his input if he got a chance to check out that game. I can't remember if he was available or not.
I unfortunately, once again, wasn't able to. It was a bad week for watching Caps games for me, but this one I paid a lot more attention to in the scoring, and also I was actually at a masquerade ball, Venetian, with the full tuxedo and mask. It was a crazy night. It was a lot of fun, though. But I did check out the scoring. I got 2 quick pings on my phone just a minute into the game, which I was like, what's going on? And so I checked. Basically, went and checked my phone real fast, and Brett Conley scored minute and 3 seconds into his third goal of the season. He hadn't produced in a bit for us. I was happy to see he scored. Lars Eller, 9th assist of the season. Orpik had his 5th assist, so it took a 1-0 lead. And then 2:06 in the first, so just about a minute and 3 seconds later, Alex Chasen scored his 4th goal of the season. Matt Niskanen's 5th assist. Devontae Smith-Pelly's 5th assist of the season. We were up 2-0. They kind of roared back in the second, scored 3:51 into it, and then again 16:28. Who cares? It's 2-2. Alex Ovechkin, 19th goal of the season on the power play, assisted by John Carlson, his 17th assist of the season, and Nicholas Backstrom, 17th assist of the season, which I think is interesting. Both had 5th assist of the season on the second one, both had 17 on the third one. Ovechkin has 19 goals at this point, 3-2. Kuzi got his 9th goal of the season, 1 minute and 8 seconds into the third. I thought this was going to ice the game. John Carson's 18th assist and TJ Oshie's 13th of the season. Made it 4-2. I see they scored 16:58 left in the game, made it a little bit close. I did see some of the highlights later. I know that Hobie played out of his mind at the end of the game to keep it 4-3. So that's what I was able to see. What were some of your thoughts, Carol?
Oh, it was definitely a great game to watch. It was a typical Metropolitan battle. They hadn't played anybody Metro in a while, so it was good to see them jump out to an early lead, 2-0. But Columbus is another strong second period team, and with the long change that aided them when they came out in the beginning of the second, they pinned the Caps in for a good 2 minutes, and with the long change, they were able to take advantage and get that goal to make it 2-1. And then they actually got a shorthanded goal, which I hate a shorthanded goal, especially a shorthanded goal at home. And it was like you could see it was destined to happen. The Caps were playing sloppy. They were turning the puck over on the power play, and Columbus was able to take advantage. And apparently the guy, I think his name was Johnson, he scored. He actually had a hat trick shorthanded game in the minors. He had 3 goals all shorthanded in one game, and he actually scored shorthanded against the Caps. That's crazy. I never even thought of anybody being able to do that. But the Caps were able to get back control in the third, and Alex scored late in the second on a power play goal from the OV office, which is sick that he can score from there. And if you saw the highlight package that I put together, he actually sat there for like a second or two before he shot the puck. But his wrist shot is so wicked that it still beat the goalie. And I mean, all the people that hate on Alex and say, we haven't won the cup, it's his fault, yada, yada, yada. You just got to take a step back and just look at the skill and what this man can do on ice. And I can't understand how anybody has anything negative to say about this dude. I mean, this dude has been out there playing his butt off for his team. Unfortunately, they haven't got a chance to do it in the playoffs, but this dude has been, has been everything for this team. No bad press. He's always been there for him. And he ain't never done anything, to cost this team. So it just blows my mind when I see some of these groups and some of the folks that have hate for Alex. So what do you think about that? I know, Robbie, we had a couple of folks that we had some heated debates about with Alex talking about they need to trade him and all this other stuff. How do you feel about that before we bring in Gil and Ann and get their take on this before we get into this round table?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, anyone who's seen my man cave knows I have an Alex Ovechkin jersey hanging on the wall. I have an Alex Ovechkin hat that I got at a Sidney Crosby Alex Ovechkin double hat-trick playoff game. I mean, he's my all-time favorite Capital. I think the idea of trading him is ludicrous. I love him so much that even if he left the Capitals, as long as he doesn't go to the Penguins, I'd probably root for him wherever he went. He deserves the cup. There's nobody, I think, in hockey deserves the cup more than Alexander Ovechkin. And that's not just me as a Capitals fan. No, I think the Capitals fans deserve a cup equally as much. I think we've gone through a lot of hardships ourselves. And I'd love to see it with him. And I think that he's a great player. There's been times in his career where I don't know if he's the best captain. Now, I think there are times where I think he's been, lately he's been phenomenal. I think early in his career, I wasn't quite sure that he was the guy. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about now, but when they were entering the league, I thought someone like a Brooks Laich would actually be a really good captain. Now, everyone would say that's possible. He doesn't even get to play the games anymore. But when they came into the league, I mean, he sort of had that sort of captain's persona, and Ovi had to grow into that. Ovechkin is a great goal scorer, and he's a great leader. But sometimes sometimes, a captain is more than just your best goal scorer. He needs to be a true leader, needs to represent all the players, and, I think that the Capitals love him to death, and I hope that someday we're able to raise a trophy with this guy because he deserves it. And, I wish him nothing but the best, but I thought the idea of trading him was crazy. I mean, I don't know if Kudzi is the next Ovechkin like we're paying him to be. That part is still, I haven't been sold on. Although I'm wearing a Keep Calm, we've got a Gainy Kuznetsov t-shirt right now. But at the same time, I think Ovechkin is a once-in-a-generation talent, and he's probably one of the greatest goal scorers of all time if you adjust for the fact that there's different eras. Some people think that he's probably one of the best goal scorers of all time regardless. So, the idea of trading the guy or anything negative to say about him is ludicrous. I would say one quick thing about this Sharks game. I see that Grubauer's in net, so we'll see how he does tonight. So it'll be a big matchup. The last 2 years I was at the San Jose game. My wife is a big Joel Ward fan. He became her favorite Capital when she started being a Capitals fan. So she's always been a fan of his, especially after the big Game 7 win. Ovechkin has had some great moves in the offensive zone. He just took the puck and went around two guys. Unfortunately, they were able to have a good defensive play and a counter, but it's a good stop by Grubauer. 15:21 left in the first period. So it's a 0-0 live hockey game. We're going to bring in a couple of our guests right about now. I want to bring in Gil first, and I know that we've had Gil on the show. Gil, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Watching the game. Like what I'm seeing so far, it's a good competitive game. Thanks again for having us on, guys. Really appreciate it.
No problem, Gil. Love having you on the first time. Good to have you on again, man, especially with a live game. So definitely going to get your take on it. So we'll let Robbie go ahead and fire away. I know I had a couple of things he wanted to ask you about first.
Yeah, for sure. And then so I just want to give a shout out to the Power Play Point podcast. It's a great show. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, they did a little bit of our segment that we had with Gil last time. We appreciate the love for them. And I'm a big fan of their show as well. And so I want to bring in Gil's co-host, who hasn't been on our show yet. So, Anna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. This is amazing.
No problem. Glad to have you on. Look, good to have some other hockey aficionados on that we can talk some hockey with.
Well, there you go. And also, big congratulations to 80 episodes to both of you. That's great.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, we love doing it. It's a year and a half that's gone by quick. It's amazing how fast it's gone by, but we love doing it. We bring it to you every Monday night. We love our teams, and we love doing this, so it's a joy and a privilege.
That's great. You can tell. So I'm glad to be on tonight. And I am a Bay Area girl, so I'm rooting for the Caps 100%. I grew up not far from the San Jose Sharks, so it'll be a fun game to watch tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely entertaining so far.
I know a lot of people that are actually Sharks and Caps fans. I would say of all the fandoms, they may have the most cross fandom of anyone that I know, at least for the Caps, because they don't play that often. I know a lot of people that live in the Bay Area or used to, and then they moved here and vice versa. And I've always kind of thought of the Sharks as a little bit of the West Coast Capitals. It's funny, there's been many seasons where they've had very sort of mirror images of each other and have very similar play styles at times. It makes for a great hockey game every time that they come together. As I said, the last 2 years I actually lost both those games, so I was like, I'd rather be doing a podcast than try to make this out for three. So I'm hoping that tonight we've got better luck here with having these great podcasters on the show. A couple of quick questions I had. I'll start with Gil. Gil, what were some of your thoughts on the up and down week, the Kings, and I know that we did much better in the Columbus Blue Jackets game?
The Kings game, if you think about the score, is not or was not really indicative of what happened. If you think about it, if not for 9 seconds of bad play, the outcome could have been very different. Add to that, the Kings have actually been playing very, very well of late. They're actually leading their division right now. So it's not last year's team, not at all. They fired their coach. John Stevens took over. Much more offensive-minded this year, and yeah, it was to be expected that they would come out swinging a little harder, at least on the other side of the red line. And yeah, I think with the, and I heard the preview before, CP3 kind of alluded to this, and that they showed some signs of rust with that 4-day layoff after the Toronto game. So I think that kind of caught them a little off guard. But it wasn't a horrible game, but a little bit more effort might have been a different outcome. And then you had the game against the CBJ, and it started well. I think they kind of faded towards the end. I think if not for some grit and the outstanding play of Ray Colby, thank goodness they hung on to win. But that shorthanded goal could have easily have killed the team spirit. But what I admired was their resiliency after that happened. And so they came back, they hung on, they stuck to their guns, and they pulled out the win against the division leaders. I like seeing that effort. I like seeing the heart that they showed throughout that game.
Yeah, I agree. Hannah, do you have any thoughts on either of those games that you wanted to share?
Well, shockingly, Gil and I have a difference of opinion, so I'm just going to say I watched the Kings game, and I thought they looked awful. I thought they looked tired. They looked lazy. No, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but it was that passing was off. They just didn't look like they were in sync, and I hated to see it. It was a painful game. I don't know. I almost feel like Jonathan Quick is like, as soon as you hear that he's playing, it just throws our team off or something. I don't know. But I will say, when they played on Saturday night, that was Capitals team I wanted to see. I thought that they looked like they were more in sync, more together, more with it. Yeah, at the end, I was a little not thrilled, but I liked it. I liked everything that I saw about that game. The Kings game with the 2 goals in 9 seconds, and it was. I felt like once that happened, that was it. We just kind of gave up.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any questions about those two?
I'm ready to get to the Orpik debate, because I'm pretty much done with this dude. Me and Robbie have had a intense conversation about Orpik. I'm saying bring Chorney up at least to the third pairing, go 7D, and let Orpik be the 7D. Get him 15 to 17 minutes. Because there's too many odd man rushes when he's out there. He's a -6 right now. You know he's not going to score, and he's taking bad penalties because he's slow and he's out of position most of the time. Yeah, he blocks shots. Yeah, he gets good hits. But by the time he's doing that, we're already down a goal or two because he already gave up a dumb penalty. What is your take on Orpik? Do you think that he needs to be, that Chorney needs to be brought up some more, or do you think that we're good where we are with Orpik? I'll go to Ann first.
Oh, I have to say, Carol, you and I agree 100%. I've never been an Orpik fan. I know that there was an article about him today that I read, and was saying, oh, he's like the punching bag, whatever. Well, yeah, and there's reasons for it. I mean, he's got a 5-year, $27.5 million contract. I'm not seeing it. I think he looks tired. I've been to the Kettler practices, or a practice this year, and I told Gil, just sitting right there and seeing him as close as I did, he was frustrated, and when I'm seeing him frustrated in practice, doesn't give me a whole lot of hope to see him shine during the game. So I'm with you on this. I'm not a fan of his, and I'm ready for Chorney to come up.
What about you, Gil? What about you, Gil? How do you feel about Orpik?
Okay, well, all right. So I will preface everything with this. Orpik, no, he's not exactly my favorite player. I didn't like the term or the money in that contract. Now, that all said, though, I understand. Yeah, he's like I said before, he's 2 steps slower than he used to be, and that wasn't that fast to begin with. But he does have some value. It's been overstated in the media and by the team, but he does have some value as far as his leadership goes. got a lot of young guys on the deep court coming up. Juice, Madison Bowie, guys like that. Orlov has learned a lot from Orpik's assistance and tutelage. So he's got some value there. He's going to have some value at least in the coming season or two until his contract finally expires. So he's got some value there. Is it worth the money? No, of course not. Is it worth him being out there any more than, say, 15 minutes a night? No, absolutely not.
No, and I'll agree. Sorry, totally jumped in there, but I was just going to say, he brings stability, yes. Good mentor, yes. On the ice, not seeing it, not worth the money.
Well, he does, but he does provide much-needed leadership, and I think that's what this team got a lot younger in the off-season, and they're going to need that.
Well,
but no, he should not be, as far as his time on the ice, no, he shouldn't be playing more than third pairing minutes at all, and he should definitely not be in critical situations.
Now, Gil, you brought up Orlov. Now, I agree, Orlov has improved defensively some, but that leadership, Orlov should not be still making some of the mistakes he makes. He's not clearing the puck sometimes when he has opportunity. He's taking the chances, and sometimes it pays off, which is great, but a majority of the times it doesn't. So I was hoping that Orpik would give him more of a balance defensively to know when to jump up and when to pinch in, and instead of him just going willy-nilly. Now, when he does it and he scores and when something good happens, great. But when he gets down below that line and a turnover and then Orpik is the last line of defense, it's trouble. So I understand the leadership, and we're going to speak about this in the Redskins hour with D'Angelo Hall and the leadership factor of yada, yada, yada. But leadership only goes so far if you're not producing on the ice. He's -6. 6. As a defenseman, that's embarrassing for the minutes that he's on that ice. So something has to be done. I understand the stability factor, but if we have these young guys that, are fast but not as big and sturdy, that's what's been beating us in the playoffs for you, these gritty, fast guys that are undersized, but they got mad heart that's out here outworking these big guys that they think they're going to overpower them. And maybe they might not be doing it down in Hershey, but Hershey is in Washington. And, the system is a little bit different up here. Trout's maybe be able to inspire somebody to do something. I feel like that's the Washington area's problem, that we don't let our talent develop. What do you think about that?
Well, okay, so the stats don't lie. He's a -6, so yeah, that doesn't lie. It means he's on the ice and for a lot of goals against, and the back line is largely responsible for that. But at the same time, not to deflect, but at the same time, if you look at some of the replays of those goals, where are the forwards that are supposed to be back checking? Some of those goals, he's the only one back. Now, yeah, he's likely to be beaten to death here. He's not exactly fleet of foot, so he's getting beaten to the puck, which doesn't help. But you got to have your forwards back checking. I think they're relearning how to do that. They're coming back to that. So I think that's part of it. I'm not trying to be an Orpik defender here, but
no, that's a valid point. That's a very valid point.
As far as defense goes, it is a team effort. You can't put it all on just one guy.
True. How about you, man? What do you think about trying to give the younger guys some more minutes and trying to get some of that gritty speed that all these other teams that are beating the Capitals with, and maybe we can get some of that on our side too? We all saw Nathan Walker is gone, so
Well, we discussed this before, and I felt pretty strongly about, the chances of you making the NHL are like, 1 in 50,000 kind of thing. So I feel like if you get called up, you play your ass off. That's it. That's because if you're not going to make it, and they're going to say, okay, well, maybe we'll give you another game. No, because there's 100 other guys that can take the place. But I do think with the Caps this year, they have a lot of players that are going to be good mentors and keep the kids, young guys, in line and be good mentors. So I don't know. I'm on the fence with the Orpik thing, but I think the balance between who Ovechkin has become over the last couple of years is it's amazing. I like who he's become. I think he's matured. I think Kuzi's the same way. my boy Tommy getting there. And that,
Here we go.
Hey! I'm a Tom Wilson fan too, so that's my man. I haven't got a hockey jersey yet, but when I finally do, it's going to be a 43 jersey. I'm letting y'all know that now.
I
have
too. I'm just teasing.
No, you gave me a hard time about Tommy, and I somebody defense all the time. I love him. I think he's got a ton of potential, and he's grown up. He has grown up a lot. Yes, he's pulled off the gloves. I love it. I'm always a fan, but I love it, and I think he's one that I love seeing that that he's making a name for himself, especially this year.
Yes, indeed.
And I've met him, and I think he's awesome. So,
well, in all seriousness, I do like the fact that he's getting opportunities on the top two lines. He's on the top line for this game against the Sharks, and I like seeing a little, adding the muscle to the hustle and getting him out there on a regular shift. He's not
just saying muscle to the hustle.
That's what I said.
Hi. How long were you sitting on that one?
It just came to me, honestly.
Okay.
Anyways, he's out there doing what he's supposed to do, which is making space, creating chances for Ovechkin. So that's a good thing. We said on, I think it was last week's show, we said he doesn't have to light up the scoreboard. He doesn't have to get points and assists and goals all the time. He just has to do what he does, which is make space, be tough to play against, get it done in the corners and along the boards, and let Ovechkin and Baxter do what they do.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that's interesting is, as you guys are talking about him, and I think you heard Anna Saigas here, actually Tom Wilson, as we were talking about him, had a great play towards the net phase. He unfortunately didn't cash in there, but they got another drive here, just going just wide. But they're trying to cycle. They're putting some pressure on right now on the Sharks. And Tom Wilson, he just needs to work on finishing a little bit more. Oh, there's another huge opportunity right there for Nicholas. But Tom Wilson on the doorstep again. So they're buzzing here in the offensive zone early, about 6.5 left in the first period. It's been a good back and forth game. It's 0-0, but there's been a lot of good play by both teams. I think the Caps are playing pretty well defensively, and they're getting a couple of chances here, a couple of rushes. They're trying to convert some defense into offense right now. But
I'm going to give a little left. Sorry.
Yeah,
No, I was going to say, I'm going to give some love to Grubauer. I am. I probably, very few people support him. There's something about the guy. I just want to give him a chance. And I think from the beginning of the season, I had said to Gil and a couple other people, when you lose and people start talking about you, it becomes mental. And once he gets that win under his belt, things are going to change, and he's going to play like the guy that we all know and love. And I feel like this game so far, he's looked amazing. So good for him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can go back. You can go back to the beginning of the season when I first, me and Robbie covered the beginning of the season, that we all said that this wasn't going to be the same Caps team. So the goalies have a certain confidence, knowing that even if they make a mistake, that the team will probably get it back. So the fact that they know the team isn't as, let's say, offensively gifted as they were before, that now they're a little bit more critical. And like you mentioned, and once he had that losing streak that he was in his head. So this is the one thing that has kind of confused me about Caps fans, that they've been successful for so long, and they know the moves that had to be made because of the salary cap, and they know this isn't the same team, but it seems like they get frustrated that it's up and down, like it's inconsistent, because they're still trying to find themselves. Even though it still has the same core, they have, like you said, a lot of young guys and a lot of rookies that's coming up that haven't had the NHL experience, so it's going to take some time to figure out who they are. We've seen the good, we've seen the bad, now they just have to get consistent with it.
I agree.
You're hitting our wheelhouse there at CP3. Ken and I had a to-do about this on last week's show, And I kind of took it a step further, took your opinion a step higher, and said that outright called a lot of Caps fans spoiled. And Anna, what did you think of that?
Absolutely not. I don't think that they are spoiled. I think they're frustrated. And that, to me, is there's a difference. Spoiled makes you sound entitled and like, I don't know, Penn fans or something. But I think
I mean, you have some teams that haven't made the playoffs in over 15 years. This team made the playoffs 8 out of 10 years, and you got fans talking about fire trots in the first 30 games of the season. I'm like, come on now. They have to find themselves. The Caps fans are spoiled because they've had Ovechkin, Backstrom. We've had people like Alex Simmons. We've had firepower here for a while now, for over a decade with Alex. And unfortunately, it hasn't cashed in the Stanley Cup, which is one of the hardest championships to win. But it takes more than one. And we all know this team hasn't had secondary scoring, and it's dependent on the power play. So we all know this team had faults. And we became accustomed to this team being number one and putting up all these goals and looking fancy and highlight reel. But now that it's getting tough and it's not certain what this team is, folks want to complain. I'm like, you got to remember, we had some good times, even though we haven't had a chance to raise the cup. This team has played outstanding, even though they haven't won the big game.
I don't know. I don't know. I think spoiled for some reason. It just irks me. I think people are just like, I just think spoiled, and I think, like fans that you just can't stand who jump on the bandwagon, that kind of thing. I just feel like we're frustrated. Like, I won't, bring up skins and whatever. It's a DC mentality kind of thing going on, but it's like, come on, you're frustrated, yes, but like any other team, you're in a state of transition. And that's where we're at right now, and we're doing the best we can. And isn't it going to be awesome when we see the lines come together, you see the chemistry, you see the consistency, and we were there from the beginning rooting for them, whether they won or lost. That, to me, is like, you're frustrated fans who are like, I don't know about this line. Spoiled? I don't agree with that. I don't think the DC fans are spoiled.
I see your point.
I'm sorry, I got to disagree, because like we said on our show, a lot of fans expect the Caps to win games 6-1 every game. They expect somebody to get a hat trick every game, and the opposition to not make too many moves across the red line and just be dominant every game. That days are gone.
Ooh.
Spoiled. See a team that is like, oh yeah, we've got the cup so many times. Whatever happens. To me, it's like when it's expected and they just know it's going to happen. That, to me, sounds more spoiled than fans who just really want to see, like the Alex Ovechkin, raise the trophy and be like, hell yeah, you got it, you deserved it, and we've been a fan since, 04 or whatever. So, I don't know. I think spoiled, maybe that's just that word that I just don't like.
Well, as we've been having this conversation, it's been Tom Wilson and Alex Ovechkin had two great scoring chances. Unfortunately, they didn't score. And this has been a very entertaining and great game with both of these teams trying to impose their will and get that first goal. I can't wait to see who gets the first goal.
There we go.
All right.
There we go. I guess I'm a little bit behind y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Caps up 1-0.
was involved in that one. Yes, there you go.
There we go.
That's Callie. Nice. Well, I did too. Here we go. Here's the highlight.
Yeah, I heard y'all react before I got to see it, so I knew it was coming.
Carlson
with the point shot.
there you go.
Bring the net.
Beautiful.
Oh, massive tip. Like, beautiful. It's been right into the upper left corner.
Nice.
By Devontae.
I want to ask that guy.
That's beautiful.
I love it.
Wow.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
And that's how they scored against Columbus, net front presence, man. And that's what this team has to do. It's not about all the passing. You got to get somebody in front of the net.
And that's where Tommy needs to step up. But yes, I agree with you. That's good. And I was just listening to your comments about how opportunities that have been missed, and I thought, God, I hope this isn't one of these, 1-0, 2, and oh boy, here we go. So this is good. They look, what? It's good. It's a fast game. They're going to be tired tonight. Exciting.
Yeah, that's all right. As long as they keep up.
Yeah, they got to keep it up. It's going to be like a marathon of these sort of small sprints. It's going to be interesting to see, who can control the possession and, who can really take it to whom in this game. And I'm hoping that our crowd noise can be there for us. I know that sometimes on Monday nights, I can see there's some of the seats are open. I wish I love going to Caps games during the weekdays, but I know some days it's not quite as full. But hopefully the people that are there can really get these Caps through this, because it's going to be a bit of a grind-out game. I mean, the Sharks are a tough team. They're always a tough out, and they seem to always play the Caps really well. Unfortunately, they're right now buzzing in our zone, but a great play to sort of just get out of the zone there, and we're trying to mount an attack ourselves. 3-on-3 is a shot that was deflected wide and out of the zone, but it's a great play both plays.
Yeah, and you know what? There you go, right there, Ron. That's who, when we're talking about speed and who's going to be able to keep it up.
That was going to be my next question to you guys. Well, how do you like how he's been developing so far? I believe he has 7 goals on the season. He had a 2-goal game a couple of games ago. How do you think that he's developing, being on that second line with Kuzi now, Gil?
Him and Kuzi definitely got some good chemistry going. I like how he goes to the net, as long as he keeps that up. What I'm afraid of with him, he's a little small for my liking, so what I'm afraid of with him is maybe his first, he hasn't really gotten hit that hard yet. At least I haven't seen him absorb a check yet. So I'm just afraid he might become a little gun-shy whenever that happens. But for right now, I like his speed. I like how he goes to the net. He's been developing well. Unfortunately, probably not going to challenge for the Palmer. You got some other big names already in the race, but I think I wouldn't be surprised over the scoring chance there. Wouldn't be surprised if he finishes with something like 15 to 20 goals, which would be a pretty good first season for him.
Nicky out there fighting, boy. Nicky out there fighting. And the same question to you about Ronnie.
I like him. I think, he's only like 5'10" or something. He is so fast, and he's got mad skills. I love watching the guy, and I feel like he was one of those players in the beginning that I think did get a little gun-shy, maybe a little intimidated being with, playing NHL, and rightfully so, but he also stepped up, which is why he's playing tonight. And I think all I can say, and I'm going to plug it again, anyone picks on him, Tommy will be there to take out the other guys, so that's it. So he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's not a fighter, but he's quick, and I think he's going to do a really great job at the Caps this year.
Cool. I hope so.
Real quickly, I just wanted to get your guys' quick thoughts on the 2 upcoming games. I know we've only got just a couple minutes left, about 3 minutes left of Caps Talk, which will correspond with the intermission right here. We've got Chicago upcoming Wednesday, December 6th at 8 p.m., and the Rangers Friday, December 8th. I know we've got a big fan here, Brian Brenner. We'll talk next week about that Rangers game, maybe a little bit also in this overtime at 9 o'clock about it as well. So Rangers at 7, Chicago at 8 on Wednesday, so Rangers are on Friday. It's a big matchup sort of to end this long 5-game homestand. We're in the dead center of it right now. I'll start with Gil. What are your thoughts on Chicago and the Rangers?
Well, Chicago, I'm not going to say that's an easy game. Of course, there's the 3-time Stanley Cup winners. They still got that solid core, ever dangerous Kane and Taves. But they're a little banged up, and they're struggling a bit this year. Corey Crawford, their goalie, just got put on the IR. So might be an opportunity. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy 2 points. It never, ever is. But that's a good opportunity for a win if they can come out just not assuming anything. Rangers, it's going to be a little different. It's always a bit of yin-yang with those guys. You never know what you're going to get. So I don't know. That one's going to be a tough call. Lundqvist has spend a little bit more on his game. I think he's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel as far as his career goes. So he's taking one more kick at the can. So he's been pretty tough this year. So that might be a little tough as far as offensive goes. But there'll be two very interesting games, I think. But need to get all 4 points in that because he just start climbing out of the wild card slot to make some moves.
I agree.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait for it. Is this the full moon or something? I agree, guys.
Sorry. Go ahead. Must be because I don't think we've reached this much in a month.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. We're going to have to, end this and just put it, on hold for a little bit because I'm like, this is too weird. But no, I think when it comes back on, I think hear, who their players are and stuff like that, but I think that the fact that we're playing, the next two games are home, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's going to work in our advantage, and I think Holtby will be rested. I think they know what they're getting themselves into. It's not going to be easy, and it's probably not going to be pretty, but I'll be watching.
Sounds good. Well, we really appreciate both your time. As always, we'll definitely have to do this again. I enjoyed having all 4 of us chop it up together, and I really appreciate all you contributed and the shout-outs on your show, and we'll definitely have to do something. Maybe I'll find a way to come on your show also. So we'll figure it out. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate the time.
Love to do it. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it, man. Love talking to y'all. Definitely, I'm gonna try to get on there too. My schedule's kind of hectic, but we'll see what we can do. We can get on y'all show too and have another round table.
that would be great. I love it. And happy 80th episode to you guys, and thanks again for everything tonight. It was great.
All right, y'all have a good night. I'm gonna go ahead and end this Capitals Talk Facebook Live feed now.